Get us. Now then, people, we've got Sheffield's finest, Johnny Nelson. How you doing, fella? You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. Last week we've crossed paths in
A
the
lot
right
of
place
things.
at the right time. So everything's good, man. Everything's good.
We got here at the end. That's all that matters. So, what does matter? February 22nd, we are seeing probably the greatest fight in my lifetime. Lifetime. What about you? What do you think of it so far?
You know what? It's a wicked card. It's a wicked card from top to bottom. We coming out. I think it's 4 o'clock on Saturday. We coming out with Smith against Boatse. What a fight! That fight. That's a wicked fight. Anywhere, it full hole anywhere. And I'm like, damn. Then you've got obviously you've got Dubois, you've got Bivol, you've got Zhilei Zhang, you've got this everything you want in the show from top to bottom. If you're a fight fan, you need to watch the show. If you're not a fight fan, but you want, you look at the British interest, start 4 o'clock, second we turn on, you're drawn in. But the fights all night be wicked. It might be an early night because I'm telling you now, I reckon you could put some kind of bet and say how many fights go the distance. And I don't think I think probably maybe one or two go the distance for the rest of them, the early nights and the early stoppage night.
What I want to do, by the way, is go through the card and kind of get your analysis on each one.
That's
So
all right.
the first card is going to be Zhilei Zhang versus Ajit Kabiyal.
Yeah,
What do you think
yeah.
of that fight?
Zhilei Zhang, he's on a roll. And the thing is at 40 years old, you think this man he was pickpocketed by Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker was just a little too cute for him, got the better of him. But you stand there to have a tear with him, he's taking you out. I think this fight for Zhilei Zhang is a good fight for Zhilei. And if you're an inexperienced fighter getting in there with him, if you're a young pup and your nose is still wet and you think, I'm going to take out this old man, he's going to take you out. He's taking you out. And Gile Zhang, don't be fooled by what you see. And so with Chile, he knows what he's got to do, and you know what? He's on a roll, baby. He's on a roll, and he's in touching distance of getting in. Getting even bigger fights. You never know. Can you imagine? How it rolls on? I'm on Gile Zhang.
Oh, okay. Next fight, the one we were just talking about now, Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith. Who's your
Yeah,
winner, and how do you think it's going to go down?
struggling there. I'm struggling because I want to know how much Callum Smith has got left. Because as soon as I saw that, I thought, damn, that's a big ass fight, man. I don't know if it's for the full WBO title, but it's a big ass. That's a big fight. It's a done fight. So again, Callum, look at Callum thinking, what's he got left? Because an unfold Callum, I would seriously struggle. Joshua Buatsi, he boxes at the level he's at. He boxes whoever. If he levels up there, he'll step it up. If he levels down there, he'll do enough. Joshua Buatsi is a very good fighter, which I don't think we've seen the full potential of. I think Saturday night you see the full potential of Joshua Buatsi. Now, if Callum Smith is a fighter he was, I think it's going to be a tough fight. It will be a battle-worn fight, but I just think you've got to go with what you've seen and what you've got to go with what you know, and you've got to and Smith has the ability. Smith has the punch power. Smith had got it all going for him. But then common sense is telling me thinking, well, go with the fact. The fact is, I don't know what Joshua Buassi's got in his artillery. He's got more, and he's going to bring out enough. I'll lean to this is the chancer. I'm going to lean towards Joshua Buatsi because I know he's got more, and I don't know what Smith has got left.
Would this card just have been a little bit better if we got to saw Buatsi versus Yard, though?
No, can't get any better. You can't get any better. And we can always say, well, what if we had this? What if we had that? This is a brilliant card. And Boatsi against Yard, that fight was on the table. It fell through for one reason or another. No, it makes no difference. Yeah, of course, Yard's fans would have been buzzing, but Smith fans are buzzing. It gets me curious thinking when I see it, I'm like, damn. So it'll be a good one.
What happens to Callum Smith if he loses after this, though, by the way?
Callum Smith's made a lot of money. He's done amazing things in our sport. Would he want to scratch around any lower than the level he's at? No, I don't think so. So Callum Smith, no matter what happens on Saturday night, he's made himself proud in our sport, and I think honor is an honor. is a big thing in the Smith family, and I think depending on how you feel lost in the fashion of the loss, whether or not he'd carry on or not, I don't think he would. I think it's not a money thing for him because he's all right.
Dude, listen, if you fought Canelo, I'm guessing you would have been all right, to be fair.
I'm
Next one,
guessing
we've
you.
got Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. Who's your winner,
Ortiz,
and how do you think it's gonna go?
Ortiz Jr. He can fight. He can punch. And his career, he stops starts, but he can punch. He can dig. Madonov again, another. And it's a good on paper. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. And side towards Ortiz because I think Ortiz is. You look at his track record. Look what he's done. Look how the fashion he's done it. The kid can fight. You can stop him early. You can stop him late.
With the way they were talking about Virgil Ortiz when he was meant to fight Conor Ben, they were making it sound like Virgil Ortiz was just a nobody, right? At one point, he can
Well,
before he even fought, they were saying
yeah,
no,
but
Conor Ben
the
could just
thing.
go over there and just go beat him.
No, but the thing is, talk's cheap. I
Hmm.
could talk about fighting anybody. I could say, yeah, Alexander Usyk, I'll go and deal with him now. The fight ain't gonna happen, so I can say what I want. Talk's cheap. So if they're gonna try and downplay a man and run a man down, talk is cheap. So it's not until, like you said earlier on, until they get in a ring, then you'll see the score. So talk's cheap. So you can always run anybody down. You can always talk big talk until it actually happens. So it doesn't matter what people say.
Hmm. So who's your winner for that one?
I'm going Ortiz. I'm going Ortiz. I think Ortiz gets a mid to late stoppage win.
Okay. Next one, Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz.
Shiraz. Shiraz is a don. The boy is a don middleweight. Have you seen the size of that boy?
He's a unit.
He's
He's
a
actually a unit.
don. You know what I mean? And I rate him massively. You speak to him, this guy's like, he's got a cool, calculated assassin thing going on about him. And I like him. And he's this kid, he'll not stay at middleweight. He'll go super middleweight, he'll go light heavyweight, and yeah, good fight. I mean, my man's, yeah, it's a good fight.
Do you feel like Hamza Shiraz has changed over like the last 3 years? Because I remember when he wasn't like this before.
Shiraz has grown up. Shiraz has grown up. And in our fight game, you've got to go through experience to get wisdom. And the more experience you go through, the more wisdom you get. And that is what Shiraz has done. He's feel comfortable in his shoes, thinking, you know what, I've grown. I can do this. Not he doesn't think he can do it. He knows he can do it, and he's just got better and better. And I know what happens behind closed doors in the gym. I've got someone that does some work with him, and yeah, man, rate him.
Is he fighting is he training over in LA though, no?
He was in America. He was in America, and he travels around to train, so he's good.
Next fight we've got is Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield.
Again, that's a good fight. I think Schofield, he will give him a good run for his money. You think Shakur Stevenson, he's on a roll. Shakur Stevenson, he's the name, he's the one you'd look at. But I think Schofield will not make it an easy night for him. Schofield, don't. You look at his record, and you probably dismiss it. He's got there for a reason.
We've not seen much of
And
Schofield though. He didn't turn up to any of the events or anything like that, did he? Not this week, but in terms of
to me, it's a big indicator. So I want to see where he is this week, what he does. And the thing is, when you're out here for fighters that come out here,
Mhm.
a lot of media commitments fight week, which I find very distracting and very hard for a lot of fighters because usually fight week, Brendan wanted me to do nothing. You go for a walk, turn to one workout, and that's it. These guys have got press commitments every day, so it comes with a dough, comes with the territory.
So who's your winner for that fight?
I'm going Stevenson.
Okay. Next one, which is an absolute brutal one. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker.
I'm going Daniel Dubois. I'm going Daniel Dubois because 27 years old, Daniel Dubois on a roll now believes in himself. And I've been one of the ones that have criticised him, saying, has he got the heart? Has he got the ball? And he's grown into his shoes. And the thing is, I should have known better because those questions were posed on me when I fought. He now believes in himself, especially after his last 3 wins, especially after his last win. People are like, oh my goodness. So how he walked into Wembley, how he dispatched AJ. I mean, dispatched him. I mean, this boy now believes in himself, and that style he's got suits a young man. Joseph Parker's a clever boxer, but not a better fighter than Dubois. And Dubois got an underrated jab. He can bang. He's heavy-handed. Joseph Parker's wins against Wilder and Zhang. You've got to think to yourself, these guys are near 40. So one of them can punch, one of them's heavy-handed. But Joseph Parker's skill process was smart enough and slick enough to slip it, because your pace drops when you get older. He's going in there against someone that's younger than him. But that can punch. That is strong. So therefore, that style, Parker style, suits him when he's going against guys that have the skill but don't have the youth and the pace. But now he's going in there with someone that's got the pace and the power. I don't think I'd be very surprised if he knocked out Daniel Bois. I
Do you
would
know?
not be surprised if Dubois knocked out Joseph Parker.
Were you not surprised though that Daniel Dubois at some points was looking over Joseph Parker, like walking into the ring for Usyk, saying, "I want you next." And yes, it's good to see
Yeah,
his confidence.
but in doing that, I don't think that's Daniel Dubois. I think that was more of his promoter, Frank Warren, saying, "Get in there, sell yourself." Because Daniel just wants to fight. He's not much of a talker, and so he's doing things that are out of character. And I'm quite sure his promoter's saying, "You've got to get up there and push yourself." That's not Daniel. So Daniel just fights who's in front of him. I think you're overthinking what he's thinking, and that's Daniel.
You know what was baffling to me as well? So the face-off was hilarious. So I'm on one side you had Andy Lee with Joseph Parker, and on the other side you had Frank Warren with Daniel Dubois. But am I right in saying Frank Warren is both their promoters? So why is he on one guy's side?
He's got to sit somewhere, he's going to come out with a winner no matter what. It's an old Don King trick. He's got to sit somewhere. That's how he rolls. So, and he's in a position now where his fighters are dominating the heavyweight scene. And so either way he wins. Either wins. One beats the other. That's business.
Well, how good of it would have been if it was Don Charles sat there instead of Frank Warren?
Don Charles is a good guy, and I don't think Don Charles is a potty mouth. So Don Charles, if there's some beef, unfortunately, Don's heart he wears on his sleeve. So you might, get too emotionally attached to involved or upset with what someone's saying. But because Don Charles he's got an axe to grind, because a lot of people wrote him off, didn't give him the credit where he was due. So now he's just speaking his mind. You can't run him. And Don Charles just needed a fighter that could execute what he was trying to
Would he,
install in fighters.
would he have said something though? Because I know Andy Lee said Andy Lee spoke about when Daniel Dubois took the knee at the Joe Joyce fight. I'm sure Don Charles would have reacted to
Yeah,
that.
it would have done. And what I'm saying is, in situations like that, you need a cool head to come out
Mhm.
with some smart answers. And if you're emotionally invested, that's how you catch him. So maybe it was better Don Charles wasn't there, because he's just too honest. Just say what's really on his mind.
So you got Daniel Dubois winning that fight. Okay, the big one, Bivol Beterbiev 2. What I want to do on this one though, talk to me about what you thought, how the first fight went for you. Because there's a lot of people divided. I'm part of that. I was more on the Bivol side. But how did the fight go on the first one, and how do you think it's going to go to the second one?
Bivol Beterbiev, the first fight, Beterbiev kept his pace consistent from round 1 through to round 12. Bivol, he didn't. He dropped off a bit. His pace starts, tried to manhandle the pace of Beterbiev, stepped it up mid-rounds, dropped the back end of the fight. And you look at both. So I believe Beterbiev won the first fight.
Mm.
You look at both fighters, you look at where they are, the age they are, and what they've got. I think Beterbiev will be exactly the same pace, same intensity. Whereas Bivol now knows what he has to bring to the table. He needs to bring a higher pace and be consistent with it. If he brings a higher pace and is consistent, he gets to win. I expect him to win on points. Bivol to win on points. To make it 1-0. Will he have a trilogy? I don't know, but I expect him to win on points, because I don't think Beterbiev can get any better, even though he's top dog. But I do think Bivol can get better.
When you watch those kind of fights, you realize what level these guys are at. To me, I've always said it's like more of in that division, like a Ronaldo and a Messi, and then everyone else is just a bit lower.
And that's it. And that's why these fights, that's why you'd want to see a third fight. That's
Mhm.
why you're in awe of thinking, wow. And even if you're not a boxing purist, you're looking at it thinking, damn, Now these guys are top, and it was a good fight, and it was one of those pick and fights. And again, the fight was that good, that close, that higher level that people are arguing about who won, who didn't win.
Okay. Moving on to another heavyweight issue that we've got. You had a few comments about Anthony Joshua that Eddie Hearn kind of replied back to, and called you a bit of a plonker for those remarks, for the AJ remarks. What's your reaction and what's your thoughts on that statement?
Well, listen, I rate Eddie. Eddie's a great promoter, and Eddie's going to say whatever he has to say to take care of his boy. And common sense tells you. Most fighters want to fight each other. Most fighters want to do it. You know, sometimes you need someone to drag you by the collar and say, yo, 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 yo. That's not good business. With Eddie responding with something so explainable, he's a plonker. It's not giving an explanation for it. My line was, you know, Anthony Joshua lost to Danny Dubois. Why are you expecting him to win? And everybody else expected him to win. Anthony Joshua, you know, the lion he is inside, he wants to get in the fight, but then you got to think, right, you got to think smart here. Do we get back in with Danny Dubois, you know, and risk losing, or do we look for somebody else? Why would he not want to get a rematch with him? Does he think Danny Dubois, because that means I ain't going to get past you. That's as far as I go. And so you'd think, and anybody would think, you know, he'd want to get the rematch in, with Daniel Dubois, but he's not. He's saying Daniel Dubois is an option, but we're looking at X, Y, Z. He still hasn't named an opponent. Mark my words, if Joseph Parker wins on Saturday night, Anthony Joshua will be shouting out Joseph Parker. Mark my words, if Joseph Parker wins on Saturday night, Tyson Fury all of a sudden forget he's retired and want to fight Joseph Parker, even though they're friends. This is what will happen. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury both know their biggest purse, their biggest fight is against each other. And they need to make sure they keep winning until that fight happens, if it happens. And so Anthony Joshua can't afford to lose to anybody else. So that means he ain't going to box the boy again because he's thinking shit could lose to him. Look what he just did to you. Tyson Fury, he's thinking, you know what, my star is dropping a little bit. I want to make some big bucks. I'm not the fighter I was. You know, I can make ridiculously big money here. It's common sense. It's not plonker talk. It's common sense. And this is exactly what it is. So I understand if that's what Eddie was responding to. I understand him saying that because he's thinking, don't look there, look there. So he's trying to take you off that subject. You know what I mean? I'm just addressing something that's, to me, is clear as day.
You would think that.
Just tell me this. Why, even now, we still haven't had an opponent named for Anthony Joshua? Even now. Why?
I think they said that he couldn't make it for the Dubois fight because there was an
Okay.
injury.
Okay. All right. But AJ can't make it for Saturday night, obviously. But why is he still not named an opponent to fight? Even now.
Because they're waiting for one man only.
All right then. So if they're not waiting for Tyson Fury and AJ wants to be 3-weight world champion, which I believe he does, why have they not said, I want the winner of this? Even now. You understand? So what I'm saying is it's not plonker talk, it's common sense talk. And that's just how it rolls.
But for me, I feel like that should have been his first fight that he should have said, okay, give him the rematch for that. And then I'll talk about Dubois.
Remember when Lennox Lewis got knocked out against Hassan Rahman?
Yeah.
My man got in the ring. And he said, I want in the ring. I want a rematch. I want that rematch. We had none of that. None of that. And I'm telling you now that what I'm saying to you is it's not throwing shade or anything because Anthony Joshua, for our sport in England, in the UK, he's elevated boxing in our sport. He's elevated the interest, he's elevated the pay packet, he's elevated everybody looking across here thinking, damn, what he's done for our sport in a short space of time he's been in our sport is unheard of.
Most def.
And I'm a big fan of AJ. But one thing I'm not a yes man. So even though your ex says a yes man, no, I'm not. I'll say how it is. I like AJ coming from a good place. You know, and I'm just saying how it is. Or if you want me to be a fake friend, I don't know if you're classing me a friend. If you want me to be a fake friend, I'll just tell you everything you want to hear. That's not a friend.
No, it's not.
That's not direct talk. That's real talk. And that's the problem. You need real talk around you. So you at least if you stop listening to real talk, you stop learning, you stop developing, you stop getting better. It's real talk. That's all it is.
He came out and also said that AJ is his own man. He makes his own choice of who he wants to fight at the end of the day.
You
Do you
know,
think
and
this is
I'm
AJ's
quite
choice? Is this AJ's choice or is it his team's choice?
listen to me. The show business, right? The show. I'll give you an example.
Go on.
Carl Froch against George Groves. Carl
Yes.
Froch won the box Chavez in Las Vegas. And Barry Hearn said, no, no, no. George Groves, it'd be a big fight. Carl's like, why am I boxing him? Why am I boxing him? No, I ain't boxing him. That's he's not my level. It's not my level. The rest is history. So the fighter wants one thing, the businessman, the promoter sees another thing. So Carl Froch didn't see how big the fight with George Groves would have, the two
Mhm.
fights, when it made George. And it's the same with the so that's why promoters are promoters and fighters are fighters. Promoter will know how to promote. So, but a promoter can never tell me or a fighter how to fight. And a fighter can never tell a promoter how to promote and do his job. A manager is a manager. He's not a promoter, he's not a manager. Everybody stay in the lane. And so Eddie's doing his job as a promoter, and I get it. He wants to keep his goose golden as long as he possibly can.
And it's
We
not the
fighters,
left of it. I hear that as
yeah,
well.
we fighters think, no, no, I'll have him, I'll have him. So you need someone that pulls you back a little bit and say, hold on. So I'm not saying AJ hasn't got a voice for himself. Yes, he has, and he has advisors as well. It's a business. That's what it's called, show business. You know, so you've got your promoters out there, they're doing the business side. You've got the
Yeah,
fighters doing the show.
I hear that. Moving on from there, there was a press conference you was at. Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron 2.
Mhm. Yeah.
What did you make of the press conference? How does Ben Whittaker look to you as well? And what do you think of Liam Cameron's chances again?
Good fight. It didn't, in my opinion, it didn't have to happen. This is only ego for Ben to say, yo, then I'll do it again. Because and I like Liam Cameron. Liam's a tough guy, man. He's a Sheffield boy through and through. Ben went in there over here in Saudi. He wanted to blast him out and put on a show. I think he was actually on the undercard of Bivol last time,
Yeah, it
actually.
was on that undercard for that one.
And he wanted to steal the show. And so he took the wrong tactics. Every fighter goes in there at some point in the career and thinks, God, I played that wrong. Fortunately, because of the way the fight finished, he gets to do it again, dance again. And so now we'll go in there. And the things he got criticized for, ridiculed for, this is what was lacking to frustrate his opponent, pick him off, make him make a mistake. But what Ben tried to do is blast him out of there. So if you're going to fight a man, me and you could have a fight. We have two beer glasses in our hand. It's not a case of me being a former world
I won't
champion.
win that, I'll tell you that.
It's a case of who lands first. That's it. So if you're going to stand there toe to toe with a man, it's anybody's chance. And so what Ben did, he's running there and and he started trying to have a war with him. And now you're thinking, why are you doing this, man? So I'd better look back and think, damn, I chose the wrong tactics there. You know, and he's had to learn a lesson. I do believe Ben goes in there and boxes and wins on points. But I do believe a lesson's been learned, and I do believe Liam Cameron has shown a side to himself to say, you know what, you got to respect me. And the thing is, this is a fight that back then didn't have to take. This is ego taking it.
Hmm.
Because I'll give you an example of David Haye fighting a former world champion in Carl Froch in his 10th professional fight and getting knocked out. So the public would have, they run David Haye, they criticize, he ain't going to do blah, 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 blah. David could have come back and boxed Carl Thompson because he chose the wrong tactics. He thought he could just blast him out, but he didn't. He chose to carry on his own path. The rest is history. Look at David Haye's career, ended up being a unified cruiserweight champion and a heavyweight champion. So the biggest star, like it or not, is Ben. So Ben could carry on with his career, and even though he'll take the criticism, people can be very fickle, and it can be forgotten about in yesteryear.
Hmm.
So, but taking this because they thought, all right, let me just show you. Let me just show you what this is about.
Is there any pressure on Liam Cameron to win that fight, by the way?
No, no, not at all. Liam Cameron was never expected to win anyway. So Liam Cameron, everything else is a bonus. The money's getting paid. I'm quite sure it's the biggest purse he's got going out there. And offers that are being put on the table for him now because of the fight he had with Ben are there, and they'll still be there because people are trying to measure themselves. Lyndon Arthur wants to fight him. Callum Simpson wants to fight him. You know, these fights are there, and my man's like now in a position where he's no longer the who needs him club. Everyone wants to try and make a mark on him.
And also, okay, I want to ask you a what if questions. I don't really like what if questions, but I'm gonna like what if questions. What if Ben Whittaker loses that fight? What happens?
He has to get in it. He has to do what every other fight has to do. Go back, lick his wounds, and regroup. That's what he has to do. Like many other fighters, just because you lose a fight doesn't mean your career is over. It just means you're in the queue and you can take shit and flack from pundits and fans saying you this, and this. So many fighters have to go through that. There's only a few elite fighters that don't have to suffer those consequences. So they just have to do it every fight. That's the only difference is he's made a hell of a lot of money already. So you can do it from a nice car and a nice house with some nice trainers. But
Listen, we know he's got all of that to be fair. Do you know what I was looking at as well, by the way, Johnny? Was I was looking at comment section on the Leon Cameron and Ben Whittaker. I've never seen so much hate for Ben Whittaker so much in my life. Why is there so much hate for Ben Whittaker?
Because Ben Whittaker he's happy to play the pantomime villain. And when you go to pantomime, you go to see the villain lose, get killed, or you go to support the villain. But either way, you still go and pay your big bucks to sit down on that seat and see the villain get it. So Ben knows that. So he don't care what you think, what I think, what anybody else thinks. He's thinking, I'm doing me. And if you hate me for it, pay your money and come and watch me. And each time you do that, I'm getting paid more. And that's it. That's our sport. In any challenge, in anything, you have a hero and you have a villain. He's happy to play the villain. As long as the people that are around him that know him, they are the ones that get it. And I get it. A lot of fighters, some fighters aren't willing to play the villain. They're not willing to do that. But because they take it personal. Never take it personally if you don't know him personally. So the hate, Ben's doing his job. You think he's not? He didn't know that when he sat there press conference eating his food, comparing himself to company prizes on Easter Sunday. He's upsetting somebody. You know what I mean? And so again, it's calculated, and I rate him for it.
As well, just touching on another, I know it's been a while. Derek Chisora he had the last dance fight against Otto Wallin. And he kind of surprises at the end with 3 pictures of people that he wanted to fight. What did you make of all that, by the way?
I think Derek should have retired a couple of years ago. And it again comes from a good place. I think Derek has taken far too much damage in our sport, but he keeps passing his medical. That was billed as his last fight, and then all of a sudden it wasn't his last fight. It was one more in London. Don't be surprised if he does have the one more in London. He said, "Oh, I'll just have one more." The IBF have elevated him to some mad ranking. So again, don't be fooled by I've just got one more. He should have packed in 2 years ago. I don't know who he fights next. I think Big Ben Miller, good one. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, if he's going to fight in London, it's got to be a name that captures the attention. It can't be end up in the nobody to say it's his last fight.
I could just imagine the press conference of that Big Baby Miller and Chisora. They're both going at it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But he brought out a picture. It said he had one picture of Dubois and he had one picture of Anthony Joshua and another picture of Usyk. And to the whole world, including me, well, I thought it's a bit crazy. I don't think you want any of them, to be fair. I don't want no part of that. I don't want to see you in any of that whatsoever. Did you think that as well, or?
Well, it's not Anthony Joshua because them two are friends,
Mm.
and so it's not Usyk because there's not enough money in it. Why would Usyk fight him? Danny Dubois is looking in a different direction. He's looking up. He's not looking down. So of course, if you shout those names, it's a wish list. I can wish to have a G-Wagon parked outside, but it's a wish list. It don't matter what I say. So the fact is, you can have a wish list. Factually, that won't happen. It doesn't generate enough money and interest, because these guys are up there and he's not. So he wants them to look back at him and say, yeah, come on, Derek, let's do it. And it won't happen. The last time he had a gimme was, I can't remember, was it Tyson Fury? That was a gimme. You know what I mean? Cool.
soon enough again.
You got it,
The
man.
best
Ready.
out there in Saudi. And thank you again, man.